Roosevelt Island, and hello Cornell Tech. Roosevelt Islanders have such a great community spirit, as evidenced by the big crowd that we have today, so thank you all for coming. Many of you know me. I'm Jane Swanson, the Assistant Director of Government and Community Affairs for Cornell Tech. I have the privilege of working with the Roosevelt Island community almost, I think, on a daily basis. Yeah, I'm very privileged to do so. And I see so many Roosevelt Island friends and familiar faces in the audience, and of course my colleagues at Cornell Tech. Today, actually, I feel like a proud parent whose children are now all together under one roof. So it's a great day. We are honored to have a number of guests with us today. They are very honored guests. They work so hard on behalf of Roosevelt Island, and we are proud that they could join us in this celebration. So let's get right to it. I'm very honored to introduce our first speaker, Cornell Tech's Dean and Vice Provost, Dan Huttenlocher, known to us as Dean Dan. And there is no doubt that his vision and leadership were instrumental in bringing us to where we are today. Please welcome Dean Dan Huttenlocher.
Thanks, Jane, and thank you all for being here. And I really want to start out by thanking the Roosevelt Island community. Without your support, without the support of elected officials, a number of whom are here today, this project would certainly not be opening on schedule like it is, and might not have happened at all. So it's really, I like to talk about Cornell Tech as the project with many, many, many parents, and I think the Roosevelt Island community should count yourselves among that large group of parents of Cornell Tech. I've been involved with the project since before the inception of the campus. I was involved in the competition that was run under the Bloomberg administration, and we've long enjoyed really good working relationship with the Bloomberg administration and with the de Blasio administration, with the Manhattan Borough President, frankly with all of the boroughs, with the City Council. It's really been just a tremendous local effort, and then at the federal level, of course, with our Congresswoman. So I'd like to extend a special thanks to Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney for co-hosting this event, and of course I'm standing right in front of her, so I'm just gonna I'd really like to offer a special thanks for her support and for her co-hosting this with us. In addition to Congresswoman Maloney, I'd like to thank Manhattan Borough President Gail Brewer and Manhattan Deputy Borough President Matthew Washington. And like me, Matthew is tall enough that he just towers above everybody, so, so I can't block him like I block other people behind me. Councilmember Ben Kalos, State Senator Jose Serrano, Assembly members Rebecca Seawright, and Susan Rosenthal, Riyadh President. So I want to thank all of you for your support of this project from the very early days where it was bits of ink on paper to where it's buildings and an amazing public space, amenities for all New Yorkers, and especially those who are right here on Roosevelt Island. So Cornell Tech we're not just an amazing new physical space, we're a campus with a very new model for graduate education. We have master's and PhD programs that fuse technology with business, with creative thinking, with design, where we have extensive collaborations with the tech community in New York, with businesses in New York, with nonprofits in New York, with the public sector in New York. And I'll touch on a few of those as they are particularly relevant to Roosevelt Island in a moment. But we're really bringing together like-minded faculty, business leaders, members of the public who are working on how digital technologies can really produce significant social and economic change, and to do that right here in New York City. And I really like to think of Roosevelt Island as the heart of New York City. I mean, here we are looking at Queens, at Brooklyn, at Manhattan, and if you get really, really high up, you can probably see the Bronx from the top of the house there. I haven't tried looking, but only Staten Island is out of view. And we're really proud to be part of this community and this location. And as Jane said, we really feel like we've been part of the community for years because we've been working so closely with all of you and with some of your community leadership. So I want to just touch on a few things that we're already doing. As I mentioned, we work closely with the community broadly in New York City and here on Roosevelt Island. So our K-12 director, Diane Levitt, who's known to many of you who have kids in the PSIS 217, and our teacher in residence, Meg Ray, have become very, very familiar faces here, working on education programs in the local school. Cornell Tech graduate students have also worked with both kids at PSIS 217, but also with seniors on the island. And for the event that's always a lot of fun for us, and I hope it is for you, with the Let's Code Roosevelt Island Days, which is just a tremendous opportunity for our students. And I think just it reflects on the kind of graduate student we attract to Cornell Tech, that so many of them want to engage with the community in those kinds of events. That's not something where we're requiring them to go out and work with the community. It's that our students and our staff and our faculty are very committed to the kind of change that digital technology can bring in the community and to working with folks around us. We also brought Cornell alum and artist Peter Garakis to the Gallery Riva for the Tropicalia installation, which I hope many of you saw. Our students and faculty have been engaged with older adults and with people with disabilities on the island, and that's touched the research aspects of what's going on at Cornell Tech as well as practical impact. We also work with other Cornell University partners, some of whom are here today, like Cornell University Cooperative Extension and Weill Cornell Medicine, in bringing programming here to the island community. Andrew Winters and our capital projects team, and frankly, I may be the dean, but Andrew's the one who waved the magic wand, so to speak, that caused all of this to happen. I do want to just stop for a second and marvel at this scope of project in New York City in 2.5 years. We only got possession of the land from the city 2.5 years ago. So it's really, quite something to have taken this project to where it is today in that time period, and that's really Andrew and his team. But they also worked very closely with the community throughout the project, with the Community Construction Task Force, but also with the general public, with town halls and open opportunities for feedback from the community. And that's something that's really helped shape the campus, but also really helped guide the construction process to minimize its impact on island residents. And as we're now moving, there'll still be some construction going on with the Verizon Executive Education and Center and Hotel, but we're largely moving to an operational mode. We'll be welcoming, we expect to have over 300 Cornell Tech students on the campus this fall, and we'll be welcoming over 225 new students to the campus, some of whom are moving in to the house over there now, but on the 15th we'll start our orientation and be welcoming those new students. So we're really shifting into an operational mode, and I'm really proud that many of our vendors have been able to hire locally from residents on the island for several positions, and we encourage you all to keep looking for opportunities as we scale up our operations. And then, of course, there's our very own Jane Swanson, who many of you know, and who definitely deserves a round of applause. So next, as I mentioned, we'll have our students will all be here by the orientation the middle of the week after next. And then in the middle of September, we'll be having a formal dedication ceremony for donors and others on the campus. And things will really be up and running after that. And this to me is just an amazing milestone in what is a 25-year project to build really one of the world's leading, if not the world's leading academic institutions, looking at digital technology and its impact on individuals, on the economy, on societal institutions, and doing that in a way that brings together first-rate academics with business and community leaders. So this is really amazing to be here today. So now I'd like to introduce my co-host, someone who's been a terrific supporter both of Roosevelt Island and of the Cornell Tech project since its inception, our own Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney.